It's Barbara of Divine Creative Love. For this tutorial, we're going to be journaling on Proverbs 31, which talks about the wife of a noble character and all of these different qualities that she has. But it's especially important to note verse 30, which says, "Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord will be praised." Emphasis on fears the Lord. So I have this really cute digi stamp from Sweet and Sassy Stamps that I printed out, and I've already traced it into my illustrating Bible. I actually taped it to the back of the page and then traced it with the Pigma Micron pens. And I used 2 different tip sizes for different parts of the stamp. So some of the details I needed a finer tip for. And we're going to be coloring in the stamp, and then I have this hand lettered design. It says "Fear the Lord," and then I looked up a little bit more about what it means to fear the Lord, and we're going to put that down at the bottom of the page. So to start off, I'm just going to trace the "Fear the Lord" into the Bible page there. And you can see it took me a little bit of time to position it exactly where I wanted it. And normally I would use a white pad to trace with, but since this design is pretty simple and it's pretty easy to see through the illustrating Bible paper, I decided to use it without a white pad. And I'll include a link to the traceable that you can download and print out to use in your journaling. And I'm just outlining it in pencil for right now, and then we're going to go back in with gel pens to color it. And this is exactly why I always draw the design on a piece of scrap paper first. So that way there's not as much erasing and redrawing going on the actual Bible paper. But even tracing it, sometimes you have to go back and correct a little bit. And then I'm actually adding a downstroke to that script for the word fear. So I'm just thickening up the downstroke on each letter. And then before coloring it in, I always recommend erasing the lines so they're just a little faint, so you can still see them, but they're not going to be so noticeable after you've colored it in. You don't want the pencil lines to still show. Or at least I don't. And you can tell here I was having a little bit of trouble with that gel pen. I love gel pens, especially the glitter gel pens, but they can be kind of finicky sometimes, and this one was giving me a lot of trouble. In fact, it was giving me so much trouble at this point that I decided I'm going to have to switch to a different shade of purple. This pen was not wanting to write at all. None of my scribbling helped at all, so I switched to a different shade of purple, which was like a darker, more bluish purple. And thankfully it was working a whole lot better. But you can see there's a little bit difference in color, but not much. I was thinking, darn, I really liked that shade of purple, but it's okay. Sometimes in Bible journaling and art in general, you have to make adjustments as you go along. And then at this point, I decided I'm going to bring in a little different color for the word "the." So I decided to make it in pink. And then I realized I was smudging the gel pen. It's another drawback of gel pens. As much as I love them, they do smudge really easily before they can dry. It always takes them a little bit of time to dry. So it helps to put a piece of scrap paper underneath the heel of your hand so you're not going to smudge the gel pen that you already put down. And you can see it shows through a little bit through the illustrating Bible paper, but not much, and it doesn't bleed at all. There's not a whole lot of things that will bleed through the illustrating Bible paper. Some things will make it like wrinkle a little bit, some things will show through a little bit, but for the most part, nothing bleeds through except for maybe a few like really heavy duty ink things. And usually in my regular journaling Bible, I would use gesso in most cases, just because things bleed through so much easier on those thinner Bible pages. But the illustrating Bible, that is a nice aspect of it. I pretty much never use gesso in the illustrating Bible. And you can still see the difference in those two shades of purple with the first letter of fear. So I tried as best I could to cover up that different shade of purple with this more blue shade. You can still see it, but it looks better. So in here I'm just outlining that verse 30 with the gel pen. And then I got out my Prismacolor pencils to do the coloring in that stamp. And I always test each color on a scrap piece of paper just to make sure that it's the right shade that I was looking for, especially for a skin tone or a hair color. And I just love the Prismacolor pencils for how smooth they are and how nice they do on the Bible pages. The colors are so pretty. So here I was trying to decide on a right shade of brown for her hair. And I used the same shade of brown for all of her hair, but I just colored in some parts of it darker to give it a little more definition. So it's not like looks all exactly the same. There are some sections that I did a little bit like heavier and some lighter. So there, see, I'm doing it a little bit lighter in those sections. I just love that design, how pretty and flowy her hair is. gold gel pen, and I did her little ear hoops in gold. And then I'm going to come back in later and add gold to the cross on the Bible as well. And for the Bible itself, I colored it in purple. And as I mentioned, I'm using the gold gel pen to color in the cross on the Bible. So when it comes to fearing the Lord, His Word is such an important part of that. Studying His Word and understanding it and applying it in our lives. So I really like how this digital stamp worked perfectly for this verse 30. And I love how she's actually kind of pointing towards the verse with her arm. Like, this is what we need to do, ladies. I decided to make her shirt in 2 different shades of pink. A lighter pink and then the dark pink on the stripes. You'll notice for her blue jeans, I colored the lines a little bit darker blue. And then when I get down to the cuffs on her jeans, I'm just going to use a little bit lighter touch with that same shade of blue for the little cuffs on her jeans. And then just because I can, I colored her shoes pink. So, and then I had this really cool washi tape that I wanted to include. And then I'm writing in that definition of what it means to fear the Lord. I found it in the Amplified Bible translation, which breaks down the meanings of the original Greek and Hebrew words. So it's basically telling us, what it means, what the word fear means in the original Greek. So which means to reverently worship, obey, serve, and trust Him with awe-filled respect. empty space still left between the words and the washi tape, so I figured why not put some hearts there. So there's the finished page. It turned out so beautifully. Way better than I thought it would. And you can see how pretty that glitter gel pen shows up. And there's little bits of gold in the washi tape too. It just turned out so gorgeous. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any of my future videos. Bye!